Hello and welcome to, is it going? Yes, it is on. So, hello and welcome to today's live English lesson here on the AM Language YouTube video. I hope you're all doing well. If this is your first time, please make sure you subscribe and hit that like button as well. In today's lesson, we are going to look at the difference between using the infinitive form and using the gerund form of a verb. Now, this is something we have done before, but this was going back quite a while. We haven't done it in 2021 yet, but it's always useful to look at. And what we'll do is we're just going to see if we know when to use it, really. It can really help us. So, Irina F, hello, good afternoon. As always, thank you very much for joining Privyet. Leondina, hi, good afternoon. Welcome to today's lesson. Thank you very, very much for joining. Buono pomeriggio, as they say. Thank you very much for joining. So, by the way, if, as always, make sure you follow. If you're watching now or if you're watching later, make sure you follow the lesson in the live chat section on YouTube, because that's where the action happens. So make sure you follow the lesson there. And please feel free to comment and take part. If you're watching this lesson later, make sure you write in the comment section, because that will make a really big difference as well. If you do write anything, I will have a look at it. Before we start the lesson, another thing I want to say is that if you haven't seen the video yet, please go and have a look. Every Monday, we're putting out a new short video. And this week, we put out a short video on the present perfect, part 1. The present perfect will take a few videos to do, really, because there's lots of things to cover. But hopefully, breaking it down into like part 1, part 2, hopefully it will make it easier to understand as well. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start. I'm going to make a start, and then we'll go from there. It's always important to have coffee or tea. If I had to say which one I prefer tea. But now and again, actually, that's a good one. Now and again, by the way, now and again, meaning sometimes. Now and again, meaning sometimes. You just need a coffee. So there we go. Now and again. That's another way of saying sometimes. So let's get into it. What I'm going to start off with here is probably just a question. Let's go with this. Yeah. Hello, Sandra. Good afternoon. So we've got this. We've got to bark at strangers is bad. Barking at strangers is bad. I don't want you to bark at strangers. And I don't want you barking at strangers. Now, with the verb here is bark. Okay, this is what a dog does. So when a dog sees a stranger, a dog barks. They go woof, woof, woof. Well, I don't know if woof is really the... Okay, in English we say woof. But come to think of it, dogs don't... When dogs bark, it doesn't sound like a woof noise, does it? It's like an ow, ow, ow. No, it's a... I don't know. Okay, I'm not going to pretend to do an impression of a dog. It's not going to go well. Anyway, my question is this. Which of these sentences read better? Okay. Which one uses the infinitive and which one uses the gerund? Okay. We'll start off with that. Now, this is an important one. Which of these sentences read better? The reason being is that when we look at A, B, C, D, the meanings are like, okay, the meaning between A and B doesn't change. The meaning between C and D doesn't change. That's the point. The meanings here aren't changing, but which grammatical structures are perhaps better, and which one is which? Which one uses the infinitive? Which one uses the gerund? Leondina has told us that B, barking at strangers is bad, and C, I don't want you to bark at strangers. These are the two best sentences, and we're looking for that, the best two sentences here. If you agree with Leondina, let me know. Leondina says that A and C use infinitive, while B and D use gerund, the gerund. Okay, well, if you agree with Leondina, let me know, and then we'll dive into this a little bit more. We'll get to have a little look at making sure that we always use the right one. And this is the important thing, knowing, am I using the right one? And sometimes we need to think about the preposition too. Generally speaking, prepositions, it's very difficult to, whenever we are using language, prepositions always come up as a problem. There's a phrase in English, okay? It's a thorn in my side, okay? What's happened here? Right, so what did I do? Oh, I see what I've done. Okay, I was just really confused in why it was telling me it was wrong. I was just getting the spelling wrong in the wrong order. So yeah, it's a thorn in my side. It means it's a problem. It's a good phrase, by the way. It's a thorn in my side. Now, anything can be a thorn in your side if it's a problem, especially if it's an ongoing problem. And when it comes to the English language, there are certain elements of language which can really become a thorn in people's sides. Using verbs correctly and using prepositions properly. I would also include articles in this category. But the verbs, and in this case, like infinitive and gerund, they can become thorn in our sides. And considering we have to think about possible prepositions that go along with this as well, such as to, it adds another element as to why this type of language can become a thorn in our side. So I hope you guys write that one down. It's a thorn in my side, a really good idiom. I recommend it. In case you're not sure what a thorn is, a very good explanation would be when you pick a rose, like a flower, sometimes you have like pointy things, okay? Those are thorns. And if you get your finger, it can cut your finger because they're sharp. Right, so now that we've looked at that, we can confirm the following. Okay, the correct answers are yes. B and C are the best sentences. They read well. Okay, and this is a good term to use. They read well. When you look at it, yes, that looks correct. Now, the next thing is, yes, A and C are using the infinitive. I'll start again with that spelling. There we go, form of the verb. While B and D are using the gerund. Now, let's start off with the harder one first, because I know most of you will have an understanding of the infinitive. So what do I mean by the gerund? Okay, now the gerund is you've got your verb plus ing. And this is what you call a present participle, okay? The actual name is a present participle, such as barking, singing, running, okay? Now, when might we use the gerund? Which is a very good question. Well, I'm going to give you two examples. The first example might be this, okay? We can say, okay, so example 1. Jogging is a hobby of mine. What have we done here? Well, what we're really saying is that, okay, the hobby of going jogging, we've taken the verb and we've put it at the start of our sentence. Effectively, we've decided to introduce our sentence with the verb, the action that we are doing. Now, why would we do that? Well, it's because whatever you put at the beginning of your sentence, that is the focus of the sentence. It's effectively the subject. It takes on the subject form of the sentence. So this is why we can say jogging is a hobby of mine. Now, if we wanted to rewrite this sentence and we wanted to use it in the infinitive form, we could say something like, we could say, I like to jog and it is a hobby of mine. Notice, when I'm using the infinitive here, I've decided to make sure that I'm talking about, in this case, I'm going in with the pronoun I, okay? So I am the subject. It means the subject is not the action. So when we are deciding that we're going to go with the action at the beginning, it's saying that, I mean, you know what, here's a phrase, okay? It's a given, meaning obvious, okay? It's obvious. It's a given that we're talking about ourselves. If we're saying jogging is a hobby of mine, it is obvious that we're talking about ourselves. We even put of mine at the end, for example. So when we are talking about hobbies, it's very normal that we put the hobby, the verb, it's very normal that we take the hobby and we put it at the start of our sentence. And we turn, if it's a verb, we just turn it into a present participle. So we can do this with such as, let's say, we can do it with running. Running is a hobby. Is a great hobby. Notice I can use less words as well. So that is one example of using the gerund. The other, let me actually give you 3 more examples, okay? Okay, example 2. Daniel quit smoking a year ago. This time, okay, I haven't gone in straight away with it being my subject, um, because my subject here is about Daniel. Daniel is the subject of this sentence. Daniel quit. Now, I'm not going to say Daniel quit to smoke. No, that's not going to work. What we've done here, and this is very normal, when we use words like quit, stop, start, it's very normal. But it's actually it's part of verb patterns, to be honest, because we can also go with verbs like enjoy, enjoys. In this case, enjoys, hates, example, plus present participle. Okay, and this is effectively a standard verb pattern. This is something, now, at pre-intermediate, okay, at pre-int, you will learn this as a verb pattern because this is a normal verb pattern. You won't be told this is a present participle because as soon as people come out with these terms like present participle, for example, people can get a bit confused. What on earth are you talking about? But this is all it is. When you are going with words like quit, stop, start, enjoys, hates, you can follow with a present participle. And that's all it is, really. Now, you might say, okay, so enjoys is a verb. Yes, of course. I mean, effectively what you have here is you've got two verbs next to each other. That's what you're looking at here. So when you have two verbs next to each other, the second verb is going to be a present participle. So effectively, it's verb plus present participle. Okay, and that's the basic structure of this. Now, I'm going to show you a third option, and this is the one that can perhaps cause some confusion. Example 3. Okay. I look forward to helping you paint the house. Now, this is the one that probably can cause most of the problems because here you've got two. Now, up until this point, you might have been told, okay, if I use to, don't I use the infinitive? Shouldn't this read, I look forward to help you paint the house? Something is a bit strange here, isn't it? Well, this is what we're doing. When we are talking about this type of action, it's very common that we're going to use something like to helping. Now, to helping is fairly common in English. I look forward to helping you. I look forward to working with you. And this is really actually tied. I want to stress this is very common when we certainly go in with this phrase, I look forward to. So I look forward to helping you paint the house, working on this project, running with you, going on holiday with you, speaking, whatever it might be. This is a really, really common term of language here. If you go in, if you use this phrase, I look forward to, you need to use a present participle. I look forward to plus present participle. Okay, this is a normal structure that we use all the time. Okay, so you might think to yourself, oh, but there's a preposition, there's a to. Don't worry about that. This is part of its own unique setup here. I look forward to plus your present participle. And these are the three main ways that we are going to use that we are going to use a present participle. So now that we've had a little look at that, let's just quickly remind ourselves about the infinitive, and then we'll get into our active. Actually, no, before we look at the infinitive, let's make sure that we've all understood this. Okay, so I'm going to give you, okay, this is going to be your task. You need to write your own sentences. Okay, for example, 1, example 2. Actually, I'm going to, okay, write your own examples. Actually, let me start again so I make this absolutely clear, because I don't want to be unclear. So, task, okay? Task, write your own examples, okay, of the following. So, we have A, for example, running in the morning, whatever it might be. B, I stopped running, whatever it might be. And then finally, we've got C, I look forward to running. Okay, so please don't use the verb running, or in this case, because those are the examples. But what I want you guys to do is try and write your own 3 examples of the structure A, B, and C. So we'll see what you guys come up with. Be adventurous as well. Please write a whole sentence. So I know I haven't written whole sentences, but I would like you to write whole sentences for me so I can see how you're linking it with the rest of your sentence. So we'll see what you guys come out with. Okay. So Niola, hello, Richard. Good afternoon. That's absolutely fine. We're talking about gerunds. Feel free to look at the live chat for some explanation, or you can watch the explanation later. But what we're looking at here, Noelia, I'm sorry, I'm probably saying your name incorrectly. There are 3 types of this gerund, which is a present participle, and we need to try. Okay, good. So I think you've already understood the activity. So Noella has come in with an example of C. I look forward to having a better internet connection. Okay, there we go. I look forward to having better. You know, actually, here I'm just going to say this, and that is a very good sentence, Noella. But you don't need the article. You can just say, I look forward to having better internet connection. I look forward to having a better internet connection isn't massively wrong, to be honest. I mean, I'm sure you can get away with it, but it's not needed. And that's what I would say here. In this case, the article is simply not needed. You can just say, I look forward to having better internet connection. I think, I mean, look, if you ended up using a slightly different noun, then maybe we could go with the article. But I don't want to get into articles anyway. But look, that's a good sentence, and it's a good sentence using having to having. I look forward to having. So well done there. That's a good example of C, the third example of using the gerund. Let's see what other people come out with. There's an example for B, and there's an example for A. What I would say is B is, I expect most people to get B correct because it's something that most people learn at pre-intermediate level. A is something that you only really come across at the higher levels, especially upper intermediate. At upper intermediate level, you would be expected to know if you were to do an exam and you were to write, for example, a really good tip for everybody, if you are an upper intermediate student, if you're doing a written essay in like a level test, your teacher would expect to see, especially if you've done this class would expect you to be able to use gerunds. And at upper intermediate level, you do learn about using the gerund at the start of a sentence, such as in A. And in your own writing, it's really important that you actually use it. So if you are an upper intermediate student, make sure that in your next level test, you actually introduce it into your written task. It's all about trying to, because it doesn't need to be very complicated. Okay. I'll give you guys just a little bit more time. Leondina says, for one, reading before falling asleep is a pleasure to me. Excellent sentence, Leondina. Nicely done. And I agree with you. Reading before bed is it is a lovely pleasure. Two, he stopped writing. Oh, so close. Me since a long time. Okay, I'm going to look at number 2 for you. And number 3, I look forward to meeting my friends as soon as possible. Okay, Leondina, 1 and 3 are excellent. Let's just have a little look at number 2. In terms of the actual verb pattern, that is correct. It's the rest of the sentence that we need to look at. So, for instance, he's actually, because here what you've done is you've actually made a present perfect continuous, okay? And in which case, yeah, you're going to end up using the gerund form here anyway. But if I just lower it down to the to a standard past simple, we would say he stopped writing to me, and it's been a long time. Notice how we have to change something here. What we're doing is the first part is a past simple, the second part is a present perfect. When we are using writing, don't forget to me. It's very important. We do need the preposition writing to me, writing to her, writing to them. But here what we're doing is he stopped writing to me, and it's been a long time. So that's how you're going to try and fix. That's what you need to do to fix that sentence. Noella has given us an example for A. Singing in the shower is very uplifting. Yes, it is very uplifting, and that's an excellent sentence as well. Okay, guys, well done. We've had a little look at this. Let's now just remind ourselves about the infinitive, and then we'll finish off with an activity where we need to decide between using an infinitive or the gerund form of the verb. Irina says, maybe instead of running in the morning, I'll go for a walk. Okay, what I'm going to say there is, okay, I see what you've done there, and that is correct in terms of, look, you can, okay, it's kind of an interesting one. What you've done here is you've just pushed, you haven't gone in straight with running, but you have still used it as the subject of your sentence and the focus point. So it's quite an interesting sentence, but you are correct. I'm not going to say, I'm not going to, I'm actually, I think that's actually a really good sentence. Maybe instead of running in the morning, I'll go for a walk. What I quite like about that is you've also put the comma, so well done. So Arena F, full marks to you there, because that's that's probably the next, that I would say, Arena, that's probably the next level up, if I'm going to be honest. So well done. That's a very good sentence and with some good punctuation. So let's remind ourselves of the infinitive. So let's see. I mean, look, there's a lot more things that we could do. So we'll have a look at that. Okay, so let's have a little reminder. Okay, infinitive. Obviously, we know that this is when we're going to use to plus the verb. such as example 1, we've got Jim always forgets to eat. We're not going to say Jim always forgets eating. We say because that doesn't even sound like a complete sentence. Jim always forgets to eat. No, yeah, Jim always forgets to eat. That's going to make far more sense. Now, this is an interesting one, and I'm just going to highlight it because there's something to this. Okay, example 2. This is probably the harder one, actually. Example 2. Okay, let's just do a little bit comparison because the meaning might change. So here you can see I've gone in with the preposition here. So to travel around the world requires a lot of time and money. Traveling around the world requires a lot of time and money. Are the sentences saying the same thing? Yes, they are. Is the second sentence wrong? Can we go with the present participle? Yes, we can. This is quite correct to say traveling around the world requires a lot of time and money. That is correct. What I want to point out is, though, we can use the infinitive at the start of the sentence, but we have to think of why we're using it at the start of the sentence. To travel around the world requires a lot of time and money. Here, what I would like to point out is if you're going to go with the infinitive at the start of a sentence, to travel, for example, so let's go using the infinitive at the start of your sentence. Context, probably advice. And I'm going to make that point. If you are going to, or raising a suggestion, that's the other type. So if we are going to start a sentence with the infinitive, it's usually because we want to make a point and it's advice or it's raising a suggestion. It's a bit like saying, look, to invest in this company requires a lot of capital. Yes, I can say invest. I can use the present participle. I can say investing in this company requires a lot, but there's something about using to invest in this company. When you use the infinitive form at the start of a sentence, we are stressing this. It's actually part of the speech as well. It's almost like emphasis stress. We are stressing the action, and we are stressing the action because it's probably advice or suggestion. So if you are going to use it because it is correct, make sure if you want to use it correctly and you can feel confident about using it correctly, I suggest you use it if you're making a point. If it's advice or if it's a suggestion, that's the best way to use it. And let's go with this one. Example 3. You promised to buy me a diamond ring. Okay, so you promised to buy. This is your standard present simple. Actually, wait a minute. Sorry. Sorry. This is actually this is a strange one. This is actually more to do with the past, actually. This is a past simple. Sorry, what am I saying? Because you've got promised. You promised. That would be the past. So apologies. You're referring to the past. You promised to buy me a ring. So actually, you are talking about a past, something in the past, but obviously it has something to do with the present. It's a strange one in that sense. But actually, yes, this is actually technically a strange form of a past tense structure here of the past simple. You promised to buy me a ring, and this is because of promised. If you promise, you're going to follow with to. You promise to do this. You promise to do that. It's a bit like saying you said the alternative to this would be, for instance, you said you would buy me a ring, for example. Okay, so it is a past simple, but it's very common when you use a word like promise. It's going to be followed by a to, and that means you're going to follow with a verb. Okay, so that's the pattern there. Can I think of another example? Yeah, it'd be like saying you wanted to help me. Okay, so that would be another example. You wanted to help me. But this is a standard past simple in that sense. Okay, so that's another example. Can I think of one more? Um, I think the other one that we can perhaps use might be this one. This is example 3. No, example 4, sorry. We're doing for time. Actually, we're running out of time. Tara has the ability to succeed. Again, here, what we're looking at here, if you look at the word ability, okay, ability is, it's a noun, and it's a bit of a strange one in the sense that we're going noun and then with the preposition to and then the verb. So it's this here. It's, you would say, like it's modified by a noun. So those are the options there. So let's get into this. Let's get into this activity because I've just realized the time. So activity, main activity. You need to try and complete the sentences and you need to choose the right form of the verb. Okay. Do you go for a gerund or do you go with a present or do you go with the infinitive? So infinitive or gerund. I will let you know what verb you need to use. Okay. So A, think about the context. B, C, uh, D, E, and let's go with F. Okay, guys, let me know what your answers are. You've got A, B, C, D, E, and F. So we've only got 6. Let's see what you guys say. Just tell me which verb, which option you're going with. So, for instance, A. If you think the answer is to run, then just write A, to run. If you think it's running, then A, running. What I would like you to do is just think about what you think the context might be. Sometimes. Now, I haven't given you I haven't told you, in brackets, this is the context. I'd like to see if you guys can sort of get the feel of the context just by the sentence. So Noella has said A is to run, B is running, C is learning, D is to win, E is to come, and F is playing. If you agree with Noella, let me know in the live chat section, okay? If you have different answers, let me know as well. Leondina has said, A is to run the marathon, you need to do way more exercise. B, running in the morning is a great way to start the day. C, I started learning English last year. D, we have the ability to win. And you've probably run out of the number of characters because you can only use 200 characters. So I will wait for your last answer, for your final answer. Anyone else watching? Anyone else wishes to come in with their answers? Let me know. We've still got a few minutes left of the lesson. But I mean, this is, look, this is good, by the way, those of you who have participated, because this is something that can be quite difficult to understand. It can be difficult to actually use. But okay, so Leondina says E is you asked her to come to the party, and F, I look forward to playing on Saturday. Well, if you agree with Noella and Leondina, who have the same answers, let me know. But like I say, guys, look, if you have found this difficult, don't worry. A lot of it, this isn't the easiest bit of language in English, and so don't worry if you find it difficult. However, if you understand it and you feel that you know what to do, then excellent. I'm very happy. I'm very happy. Irina says that she agrees. Excellent. Well, I can confirm that the answers are as follows. So yes, A is to run. I mean, this is the part of the context here. When you look at it, to run this marathon, you need to do way more exercise. I mean, this is advice. So that tells us why we should be using the infinitive form at the start. B is running, and because this is just a general, really and truly, this sounds like a hobby. This is quite general. So we can go with the present participle. C, learning, absolutely. I'm very pleased with this. I started learning English last year. Please use this form. Okay, if you say I started to learn English, if I started to learn English last year, okay, it says the same thing, but the better choice of grammar is to use the gerund in this case. I started learning English last year. Much better. D, we have the ability to win. Excellent. This can only be to win. E, you asked her to come to the party. Very good. And F, really pleased with this one. I look forward to playing on Saturday. Yes, we've got to go with to playing. Okay, guys. So thank you so much. I'll just qualify that, okay, for F, just in case it wasn't clear. The answer is to playing. Okay. So, guys, thank you so much for watching the lesson, and for those of you who participated, such as Irina F, Leondina, Noelia, and anyone else, thank you very, very much. Oh, and Sandra, thank you very much. Always nice to see you guys participate in the lesson. You guys make the lesson what it is. To those of you who have watched but maybe didn't participate, thank you very much for watching. Leondina says thank you and see you tomorrow. You too. Irene F says thanks, enjoy your evening and good luck for tomorrow. Thank you very much. Noella says thank you, see you tomorrow. Thank you very much, Noella. Much appreciated. Okay, everybody, I will see you guys tomorrow. Make sure you like the video, subscribe if you're new, and share the channel. Share these lessons with friends and family or work colleagues who you know are thinking of learning English. We're slowly approaching the 700 number of subscribers, so let's see if we can do that. Thank you so much, guys. Take care, and bye for now. See you tomorrow.